morning and welcome to Cover 2 Cook. We're on episode 63. Today is January 12th, and we will be recapping the two Saturday NFL Wildcard games, and then we have the three NFL Wildcard games on Sunday to talk about today, and the one Monday night game that has been moved. But before I get too far, let me bring on my co-host, Mr. Tim Cook. How you doing today?
I'm doing good today. We had two interesting games on Saturday, and I'm hoping that the games get a little bit better Sunday and Monday. Before we start, I want to give a shout out to my mother. It's her birthday today, so happy birthday. So she's down in Florida right now celebrating, so happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday. She's always been a supportive listener.
Yes.
We will not say the age because it's only like 55, I think. So let's just
Yeah.
go.
57, I think
50,
it was.
Yeah, 57.
57, yes.
But yes, let's get started right off the bat. Chargers versus Texans. We both took the side of the Chargers. We thought this is a Chargers game. Harbaugh's back in the playoffs. Herbert has a coach that's going to take him going. And it was just a total opposite of what we thought was going to happen. What did you think about this game?
Yeah, it started out. The game started out where the defense for the Texans was stepping up. I couldn't believe it because they give the Chargers short fields, and all they did was kick field goals. It was 6-0 at one time. I'm thinking, wow, and I was watching the game, and next thing you know, I almost fell asleep. This first half was very boring until Stroud just kind of woke it up a little bit, started getting the ball down the field, got Deagle Collins involved. It was 7-6. It was 10-6 at halftime. It just like, and then, Stroud throws that interception. So they get the ball back. And then Herbert throws an interception. It's like, oh my God, what? You're giving the game back already. It's just like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, it was a sloppy game on both parts. Just the Texans took advantage of it compared to the Chargers. I think the Chargers just didn't play their game. Now, I'm going to tell you, Chargers and Texans, because of how shitty your first half is, I lost the TV. I had to go and watch the rest of the game on my phone because the wife said, I'm not watching this. I watched Thursday night. I watched Friday night. I'm not watching this. And I totally agree with her. So I lost it because of how sloppy it was. Now, it got interesting in the second half because, the Chargers did kind of come back. But then as soon as the Chargers thought they were going to have a chance, the Texans go down. And the reason you go get Joe Mixon is for that play alone. The way he took that run off the left side, 4th and 1, and bounced it, like I just think the Chargers didn't play their game. They didn't run the ball very well. Herbert didn't throw the ball very well. And then they couldn't stop the run at the end of the game. So that's not Harbaugh's game, unfortunately.
No, and they finally got Mixon going too as well, the Texans. He started rushing. I think he had 108 yards. At the end, he had like 108 yards rushing. I mean, they finally got him going. He had a rushing touchdown, and then they kind of kicked a couple field goals. Yeah. But I think that pick six that Herbert had was the backbreaker. I mean, that made it 20-6. It was pretty much over. He ended up throwing 2 more interceptions. He's only thrown, that was his first interception. The first one was his first one in like 274 attempts on the road. And then all of a sudden he threw 4 for the game. I mean, he has no receiving core. I mean, he's got the Quentin Johnson. My opinion, I'd release him tomorrow. He's not that good. He can't get you he's not your number one. I wouldn't say release him, but he's not your number one. He might be a 2 or a 3, but he's not your number one. I think that the Chargers need to go out and get a number 1 receiver for Herbert. I think McConkey is a good, but he's not a number 1 either. I mean, he could be a 2. Quentin Johnson could be a 3 or 4, or just release him. But they got to go out and get a number 1 receiver.
Well, I agree, and I think he had 4 interceptions, and they said that's more than what he had all year.
Yeah.
And I definitely agree. They have to go out and get a wide receiver. Ladd McConkey's a great slot wide receiver. When you think of like Belichick's back in the day with the Welsh Welker, Danny Amendola, those people,
Edelman,
that's the perfect person for that situation.
Mm-hmm.
But you need someone to take the top off to allow someone like that to do well. So I definitely agree. I also think that we've talked about this all year, that let Harbaugh get his guys in before we start making judgments on what does happen.
Yeah.
You got to run the ball better in this game. I mean, in the playoffs, I think that's going to be very successful to run the ball. I talked about it in the last podcast. I said, this team will go as far as Herbert goes. And they didn't go very well, obviously. And then I also said, I think that defensive line for the Texans can be a bad situation for the Chargers. And it was. I mean, even pressure on him,
Yeah.
I can't blame that on Herbert because a couple of those passes were just like through the hands and into the come on. So
well, and then they think they're getting back in the game at 25-12 at the time, and then they blocked the extra point. Texas blocked the extra point, and the kicker, instead of grabbing the ball, tries to swat it back. And the guy, picks the ball up and runs it. And, they were kind of questioning, and I was kind of questioning too, why did, the play should be over. Well, since the ball didn't go across the line of scrimmage, that's a live ball. Yeah. So anybody can pick it up and run it back for 2 points. And that's what the Texans did. The Texas defense really stepped up. I think this is probably one of their better games, defense-wise, they've had in a long time.
If not all year.
If not all year. Yes, I agree.
This was, and they stepped up when they needed to. I mean, it wasn't a Stroud show. Didn't have to be. But I will tell you right now, that offense is going to have to pick up as well because that defense ain't going to play that way all the rest of the playoffs.
No.
How'd you do on betting this one?
I had the Chargers given the 2. Yeah, not so much.
Yep, same here too. I did the 3, and I just did not see the Texans kind of doing what they did right there.
Yeah.
But that takes us to the night game, the Ravens versus the Steelers. These teams face off a lot. And I actually talked about it on the last podcast. Maybe I was a little bit of a fortune teller, but I was like, this just reminds me of these old games of between Ben Roethlisberger and Joe Flacco. And then before the game starts, they go, they do this little this little show of Ray Lewis and Big Ben talking, and we hate each other and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, told y'all. That's what I felt like this game was. Except for this wasn't one of those games, okay? This wasn't. That Ravens team is set up to win the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. I understand the Chiefs are the favorites and the Chiefs are doing what they are. I get it. But the way the Ravens can run that ball and not have their number one and still throw it when they need to. At one point, I think they ran like 14 running plays in a row. Yeah. You can't stop it. You have a speedy Lamar and just a man amongst boys when you get Derrick Henry. They took advantage of this game on the other side of the ball. Steelers, they have to. Something has to change. Something has to change. You change offense coordinators. You did that last year. You went and got Russell Wilson. You got to score points. You got to find a way to run with these teams that can put up 40 points, 30 points. You got to find a way. 14 points ain't enough to in a playoff game. Your defense ain't that good like what it used to be. What did you think about this game?
Well, and, piggyback on that thing, too, Anthony, I think Fields if Fields had a softer touch on his ball, I think Fields is playing because Fields can get out and run like Lamar Jackson can. He just throws bullets, and you can't have that. You can't have him throwing bullets. He's got to get out there and just have a softer touch on the ball, or Fields is playing because Wilson's done. He can't stand in the pocket. He can't get out of the pocket and run up the field. He can't do that. He just can't. He can't get the ball to Pickens. He did eventually get him a touchdown. But like you said, in this game, the Ravens got anything they wanted. Lamar was running. Henry was running. They were running up the field. They were just gashing them. They do whatever they want. Now, don't get me wrong. I think in the second half, and I think at halftime, the Pittsburgh defense looked gassed. Yeah. They were done. They needed that halftime. But in the second half, it looked like Jackson got hurt. Looked like somebody landed on his back because he came up a little wincing. So I'm wondering how that's going to work out, going to the next game. But they were just, Henry was just rushing all over the place. Jackson, they did whatever they wanted. They did. The first touchdown was to Bateman. That was a sweet pass. But they got to do whatever they wanted. And I think why the defense was so gassed, Pittsburgh, because they were on the field a lot. Yeah. They had big drives, 10, 15 play drives, and they were just TJ Watt was just done. But that's because there were a lot of 3-and-outs. Wilson couldn't get the ball down the field. They couldn't run the ball whatsoever. And it was just, I think if they need to go out and get another quarterback, I think. I don't know if Fields is the guy because unless Fields can practice throwing the ball a little bit softer, I don't know if he's the guy.
Well, and I think, and you said Fields and Lamar can run. I was just taken back by that. Fields can run, but Lamar is that's Michael Vick. We only name certain people like that. No, I definitely agree, but I think in this game, Fields would have been a better situation because they were bringing the blitzes. Baltimore was, and at one point they literally showed Russell Wilson's feet. It was when they were by the goal line of him throwing the ball, and both his feet were up in the air when he threw the ball. And they go, well, that's happy feet. And I was like, okay, you know what? I thought I had that little bit of my word, but I guess not. But like, he had happy feet that whole game. He couldn't step. The only one that he stepped into his throw was the one down the sideline, and
was Jefferson.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
He scored the touchdown. It was a perfect ball, and then Pickens. That was
that was a while. Yeah.
For one, if you go back about 15 years and you throw that ball, Pickens is dead. Okay, he's dead.
Yeah.
Because that guy's not going to go for the ball; he's going to hit him.
Yeah.
Now, because of the rule changes, they kind of go for the ball, and then and he extended his arms out, catches it, gets in the end zone. I just think when the game was on the line to stop this team, stop the Ravens, to get that ball back, do anything, they just couldn't do it. They get the ball back. Pittsburgh can't do anything. And I think this year, you lose 5 in a row to end your season, right, as Pittsburgh. Ravens are on this 5-game winning streak. That's your division, right? That is your rival. I cannot believe I'm about to say this, but I think there has to be some consideration of moving on from Tomlin. They've had way too many people come through there with bad reputations by the time they leave. And I get it. You're like, well, but you changed offensive coordinators. You went out and got a quarterback. You've done all these things to say, well, it's not Tomlin anymore. But at what point is it Tomlin? You can change quarterbacks. You can change all these people. But like he's the overseer, and I get it. They want to stay with their guy for as long as they do. But like that was a game that I just felt like if it was in Pittsburgh, it might have had a different outcome. But you lost 4 in a row, and that changed the whole thing. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah. I mean, something's got. I don't know. Something's got to change with this because I think if you make a quarterback change. I mean, I think the defense is fine. It's just they can't. Their offense, they just can't move the ball down the field, and they can run it, but they're they'll stack the box because they know that that's all you got is running because Wilson can't get the ball down the field. I'm sorry, he can't. I think Fields can get the ball down the field, but he's got to have a softer touch. He throws too many bullets that are. I mean, these people they're either over their head or what, but it isn't working. I don't know if. And that's the deal too, is like, we've talked about before about Ohio State, Michigan, about Ryan Day losing his job because they're not beating their rivals. That is a rival there that now they've lost 2 of the 3 games this year. Maybe it isn't. I mean, it's something to consider.
Yeah.
It's a big consideration.
And how did you do betting on this game?
I took the Pittsburgh thinking that, it's a rival, it's a division rival. They should at least keep it close. Yeah, not so much.
Yeah, I did the under of 43.5. It came in at 42, so I did win that one. I went 1-1 this weekend, or for Saturday. You went 0-2.
0-2, God, that's like 0-4 in the last 4 bets. If you're listening to me right now, it's not looking good.
Yeah, you suck. No, I'm just kidding. Remember, 12 games freak at one point. But we got to move on to the Sunday games. Today is Sunday. We got a bunch of games starting us off today. We have one at noon, one at 3, one at night. We got one on Monday. Starting us off right at that noon game. He's got his flag finally hanging. It's that Broncos versus the Bills. I like that logo. I love their jerseys last week. They played really good last week. Can they do it this week? What do you think about this game?
Yeah, look at that. Look at that baby right there. Go orange and blue. Denver's coming off the big win last week against the practice squad team of the Chiefs, 34-0. So, and the Bills are coming off a loss against the Patriots where nobody played. The Bills are 8-0 at home this year. This is the first time Denver is in the playoffs in 9 years since they won Super Bowl 50. The key to Denver, keep Bo Nix clean. You got to keep him clean. Do not put him in situations which I don't think Sean Payton will. Don't put him in situations where, he's throwing interceptions and making just make him clean. I think for the Bills, no turnovers. And also on defense, get after Josh Allen. Contain him. Do whatever you – make him throw some different – make him turn the ball over, whether that be fumbling the ball or interceptions. I think the keys for the Bills, running attack, James Cook. Got to get him going. Got to get this guy going. And on defense, push pressure Nixon to turnovers.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. This is a Von Miller situation too, because
Yes.
it's going to be on the Bills. I mean, obviously he's been playing for the Bills recently, but
Right.
if you remember that Super Bowl, that was Von Miller's Super Bowl. One of the only times that I can remember a defensive player winning the MVP. Like Von Miller is now coming after Bo Nix. That's going to be a huge situation today because Bo Nix, being a rookie, you just don't want to break his confidence. And what I mean by that is you just don't want an awful performance in the playoffs. At the same time, that's what the playoffs is. So you say, like, Sean Payton. I think Sean Payton's going into today saying, we're not going to put him in bad situations. But if that game gets close, I'm going to put him in any situation that's going to win us this game.
Yeah.
So take off with their feet. Throw the deep ball. Maybe it gets intercepted. Maybe it doesn't. But if it gets close, I think if it gets a blowout, you take him out. Just let his confidence stay the way it is. On the other side, you say Josh Allen. I definitely agree. You got to get him out of the pocket. And what I mean by that is out of the pocket but contained. I know that sounds weird, but
Right.
you need those different arm angles that Josh Allen does. When Josh Allen is sitting in the pocket all day, he's going to burn you. He's going to burn you. But if you get pressure on him, don't let him get out of the pocket too much that he can take off running because he's a great runner. He is Lamar Jackson, just not as explosive as Lamar Jackson.
Right.
But I think Lamar Jackson has the arm that Josh Allen does. They both have their benefits and their pros and cons. In this game, though, if you can get after Josh Allen and make him throw interceptions, which he has not done all year, let's be real. He's been really good about this year. I think that Denver's defense is going to be the decider in this game. Denver's defense has played really good in some games. And some games you're just like, where are you? What are you doing? Yeah. If they can play up to that game, I think they can give a run for their money.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't know if they can do it.
The Broncos have covered the spread in 6 of the last 7 Sunday games. The favorite has covered the spread in 12 of the Broncos' last 13 games. The Bills are a better team, I think, and thinking they're a team that's Super Bowl or bust. I mean, they're going for it all. So I like the Bills, but I think Denver keeps it close. So I like Denver getting the 8.5 points.
Wow. Okay. I have the Bills with the 8.5, right? I was going to take Denver if you were going the Bills because you sounded like you were going the Bills way that whole start of it. You know what? I'll take the Denver on this one. But no, I do agree. I think they can keep it close. I do think it's a situation where, like last night we talked about with Baltimore and Steelers, it's just like what team comes out and plays what. Right. I think as a Denver fan, or if you're a Denver fan, or if you looked at Denver's season this year, win or lose, this was a great season.
Yeah.
Win or lose. You guys are paying a person so much money to play for a different team that just lost. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You went out and got a rookie quarterback. You guys are still trying to figure out what is happening in Denver with new ownership, everything like that. And you made it to the playoffs with a rookie quarterback. I think that's a compliment to Sean Payton. I really don't care for the guy, but I think it's a compliment to him. So win or lose, it's a great season. But God damn it, wouldn't it be nice to just win this game? I think they have a chance because of Denver's defense. My only problem is when Josh Allen was said, you're not going to have the season you're going to have because you lost your weapons. He goes and has one of the best seasons he's ever had in his career. So at the same time, I'm taking the Buffalo Bills 8.5 or giving the 8.5 in this game.
Right. Well, and I did look at the schedule for next week, and both number 1 seeds play on Saturday night. And I said, well, playing the Chiefs will be sure nice on Saturday night. So I know where I need to be on Saturday night because I think, and the person told me, well, you got it with Notre Dame. I don't know if you're getting it with Denver.
Trust me, I knew because I had Notre Dame, Vikings, Notre Dame again, and one of them had to lose. So my Vikings lose against Detroit.
Right.
Yeah. So that moves us. Well, and I still think there's a chance. I'm just saying there is a chance that Denver can win.
Yes. But I think their defense has got to play like they did the first 12 games, not the last 5.
Yeah. Well,
for them to have a chance.
They kind of have to play like how they did against the second-team Chiefs.
Yeah.
And that's to give them a chance.
Yeah.
But that takes us to the afternoon game. Packers versus Eagles. Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love are playing. So if everyone just wants to take a step back, hey, guys, the starting quarterbacks are going to play. Because all week, all thing was like, are we going to see backups and third strings? And we knew the starter was going to play, okay? Concussion protocols, they're just temporary rules. Jalen Hurts is going to play. Whether this guy smacked his head and he can't see straight, he's playing.
Right.
Whether he needs to sew that elbow together, he's playing, right? Both teams went out and got 2 running backs, and it changed their careers. Or changed their careers, but changed the team. With Saquon Barkley going to the Eagles, I still think they should have went for the 2,000 and some yards of the rushing record, because if you lose this game, it was all for naught. It was all for naught. But at the same time, Josh Jacobs comes in and gives a spark to Green Bay that they hadn't had in a long time. I mean, I'm thinking back to like Ahmad Green or whatever his name was.
That's good call on that one. Nice.
Like they just haven't had. I mean, they haven't had that dominant back that just
right.
At the same time, both these quarterbacks are still younger. I mean, they're in their younger careers.
Right.
This is the step forward. The Packers always find a way to be really good in the playoffs, and the Eagles always find a way to kind of be shitty in the playoffs. So this would be a great game in the afternoon. What do you think about this game?
The Packers are coming off that bad loss to the Bears. Ooh, I know that Love didn't play in the second half. And these two teams played in week one, thriller in Brazil, as they say, where the Eagles won 34-29, where the Green Bay led most of that game, and then the Eagles came back and won. I think the key for the Eagles is Jalen Hurts. What Jalen Hurts are you getting? The Jalen Hurts that got hurt before he got hurt, or the rusty Jalen Hurts that's coming in today that hasn't played in 3 weeks? I think that's going to be a key. I know, the way you were saying about concussion protocol, blah blah. They had to have known that maybe he was still not 100%, so they were going to hold him out. The key for the Packers, getting the run game going, like you said, get Josh Jacobs going. They're going to be without Christian Watson; he's got a knee injury, so that's one more deep threat that Love doesn't have. So they're going to have to lead on Jacobs and maybe keep Hurts off the field, keep him on the sideline. So that's going to be a big deal. And their defense is going to step up and pressure Hurts and make him throw some bad throws, and kind of maybe contain Barkley. I know that's going to be kind of hard, but I mean that'll be a big key. So.
Yeah, I definitely agree. When you were saying the best matchup, I think the team that wins has the better D line. Whoever had the better D line in this game, because who can hold the linemen to get to the backers when there's run plays, and who can get after the quarterback when the play is a pass. That is what is going to decide this game. Because Jalen Love, Jesus, but both of them, Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love can both take off running. They can, but they don't want to. And definitely not Hurts with this whole situation going on. They're going to want to stay in the pocket and throw the ball. I don't think if you can get him outside the pocket and get him going, that changes everything. Now, Jordan Love he's a Brett Favre, and he's really kind of an Aaron Rodgers. He's a gunslinger. He wants to throw the ball deep every play. Make him do that. Just execute when it comes to when he throws it, because if you don't, they're going to beat you. Yeah. I like the Packers in this one. I took the Packers getting the 5.5. I think they find ways, and there's no difference of cold for them because they play in cold environment. It's not a game like that. I think they find a way to keep this game close. I don't know if they win, but they keep it close.
I agree. I think rusty Jalen Hurts. I think they're going to start out slow. Yep. So, and I like the Packers in the 5.5. I think they keep it close. And I think the Packers, this could be probably I'd say this could be the best game of the day, really.
Oh, yeah. I think this is, and I will say this too. If the Eagles get behind the game or get behind early in this game, you know who gets taken out of the game pretty much? Saquon.
Barkley. Yeah.
And that's what you need. You need, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm calling this one too because there's a prop bet on this one. If who wins the coin toss? Because if the Green Bay gets the coin toss and they win it, they'll take the ball.
Right.
I could bet you right now they'll take the ball because they did it against Minnesota. They did it against these other teams, but they'll do it because if they can get out to a lead, it takes Saquon.
Right.
That takes us to the night game. Now, I do think this will be a good game as well. Commanders versus Bucks. Both teams are on a roll. Winning, they had to win to kind of get in. A lot of these things. It's just another game that played in week one. They both played each other in week one. Now they're in the playoffs. What do you think about this game?
Commanders' last game coming from behind victory against the Cowboys, while the Buccaneers had to do a come from behind to beat the Saints. Commanders riding a 5-game winning streak. I think the key for the Commanders is keep Jaden Daniels cool, calm, and collective. Yeah. Just set up plays for him that is not too difficult for him, and just let him play his game, and get the running attack going with Brian Robinson. You got to get that going. I think they're going to throw some deep balls to McLaurin and that six. I can't think of the guy's name. Sakakis. I can't remember what it is. But the key also too, they may be without Crowder, which I don't think they use him a whole hell of a lot. So I think the key for the Bucks is Mayfield. Don't be reckless. Don't be reckless. Don't be reckless.
That's his middle name.
I know it is. And sometimes he gets a little too cute and starts throwing the ball down the field. You use your running attack of White and Bucky Irving. Shout out to Bucky Irving. He got me third place this year in fantasy. And get Mike Evans going as well. Get that going. And, that's going to be the key, I think.
Yeah, when I look at this game, it's just the same thing when I said with the Denver Broncos. Rookie quarterback, just don't break his confidence. Because this is, I think, a better situation for the rookie quarterback. This is a Stroud game where Stroud won one and moved on last year. I think they can win this game. Lattimore, I can't think of his first name.
Marcus
Lattimore?
Yeah.
This is why they went out and got you.
Exactly.
For this game, not for this game, but for these type of games, right?
Yeah.
You have to shut Mike Evans down. Now, Mike Evans is on a little run at the end of the year. They had to get that 1,000 yards and stuff like that. But he was playing good ball, whether they were going for that 1,000 yards or not. You have to shut him down. Make them one-dimensional, running the ball. And you said dangerous or reckless. Baker's middle name is actually dangerous. I remember that press conference when he's like, I'm feeling a little bit dangerous. It's like, no, don't do that, bud. Don't do that. Dangerous in your mind is absolutely stupid in a lot of offensive coordinators' minds. I think this game is about the quarterbacks. Can the quarterbacks just maintain the situation? Because both of them can get a little bit of recklessness. Remember, a couple weeks ago, we had Jaden Daniels throw 5 interceptions to win a game. But 5 interceptions. You do that today, you're going to lose that game.
Yeah.
And I think this will be a great game. I do think it's a good Sunday night little thriller.
Yeah. The end of the day. Yes, I totally agree.
I took actually on this one, I think it's going to be a shootout. I took the bet over 50.5. I think both teams are going to score. And then once the wheels just keep moving, Baker and Jaden keep throwing that ball, it's going to get out of hand real quick. The defenses are just going to line up to see a touchdown happen. But what do you think?
The Commanders have covered the spread 4 of the 5 last games in January as underdogs against NFC opponents. Tampa has won the last 5 games on the East Coast. I think Tampa is a dangerous team to play in the playoffs right now. They are the hottest team, I think, right now to play. And I think they will get Daniels off. I think they're going to put a lot of pressure on Daniels. That defense is really good. So I like Tampa getting the 3 points. Or given. I think they're given the 3 points.
Yeah, they're given 3.
Yeah. So I like Tampa giving the 3 points. I think Jaden Daniels is, he's going to be a good player in the future, but his first game, I think they're just going to be all over him.
See, I didn't even look at the point spreads, and the reason why I didn't was because 2 weeks ago, these teams played total different types. The Commanders looked like they could win the Super Bowl when they played the Eagles, right? It was like, oh my God, they're that good.
Right.
And then they kind of struggled last week or the week before that, right? Like it was like Tampa lost to the Saints, I believe, like 2 weeks ago. That last game of the year shouldn't have mattered for them. If they would have just won, it wouldn't have mattered, but they lost. So it's like, what team are you getting with these? I think Tampa could be a very dangerous team. But at the same time, it's like, what do you see? I do like it. If I was going to put money on one side, I like Tampa in this game, obviously.
Yeah.
That takes us to the Monday night game, Vikings versus Rams. Unfortunately, due to the ongoing fire situation in Los Angeles, in the Southern California area, this game has been moved to the State Farm Field or whatever the hell it's called in Arizona because I've already said my little thing about that bullshit NFL piss off. A moment of silence before every game. Just go shove it up your ass. But when we talk about this game, last time these two teams met, the Rams beat the Vikings on a Thursday Night Football. Now, what was different from that game? Well, Sam Darnold looked really good. He had to step back after that game, right? Coming off the Detroit loss, Week 18, he's going to have to step up in this game. He is going to have to play one of his best games in this. Now, where is he a resident of, or where did he grow up? Southern California. I think he's got a lot to play for in this game. I think there's a lot of other things. When you talk about these coaching staffs, they're like brothers. Yeah. Kevin O'Connell comes from this Sean McVay's tree. He's got 3 guys from the Rams' coaching staff. Sean McVay, they actually were talking throughout this week, not even about the game, just about what the ongoing situation over there. They're obviously friends of that. But it comes down to Darnold. I don't care what the Rams have. Darnold has to play his game because the Vikings on paper are a better team than the Rams. But can your quarterback perform the way it needs to? What do you think about this game?
Yeah, I mean, this, like you said, the game, the Vikings coming off that bad loss. This is the first time a 14-win team has to go on the road to play. With that bad loss, they could have been a number 1 seed. They're not. They could have been staying home. Now they're a 5 seed, having to go. Which now with this fire, it kind of benefited them. Now they're not playing at LA. They're playing at a neutral site, which I think that's going to help them. For the Rams, I think like you said, keep Darnold, get him out of the pocket. I mean, the Lions were blitzing him quite hard, and I think they give him a blueprint of what to do against Darnold. Darnold's got to get the ball to Jefferson and Addison. That's just plain and simple. They've got to do that. For the Rams, keep Stafford upright. Please keep him. If they start blitzing against him and they put a little pressure on him, it could be a long day for the Rams. I think Darnold has the playoff jitters, and this team is dangerous. So I like the Rams and the 2.5 points.
Yeah, I went the opposite way. Obviously, I went Vikings 2.5. I think this is a different game than what that Thursday night was. And really, if you go back to that Thursday night game that they played each other, the face mask changes it. That was not called. Right? This game was a lot closer than what it came out to be final score-wise. I think Darnold does bounce back. I think Kevin O'Connell keeps it simple for him. I think they kind of just did a little too much against Detroit. But, Rams, if they get Puka and Cooper going, that opens up Kyren Williams.
Yes.
The Vikings, pass defense, can they keep up? I mean, they struggled against Detroit, but who doesn't? Because Detroit's got so many weapons. Well, Rams kind of have some weapons there. I will say this as a Vikings fan. I'll be willing to lose this game by 70 points if you can promise me a national championship for Notre Dame. I'll lose this game. I'll take Sam Darnold with a knee injury. I don't care. I'll take anything to give me a national championship. Unfortunately, now this means for 2 Mondays in a row, I'm going to have to sit at the edge of my seat and then do that. Now, with that being said, there might be some things up our sleeve to kind of talk about Notre Dame and what we might be doing next Monday. Don't want to give them all out yet, but I'm taking the Vikings to minus 2.5. I think they bounce back. I think they're a team to be watched out for because if they can win this game, they're either going to the Eagles or they're going to Tampa Bay or one of these games, right? If they can win this game, I think they're a force to be reckoned with because a lot of these other teams in the playoffs, they have to play their best ball. The Vikings just have to play not their worst ball, and they win these games. So I like the Vikings on this one, but we will see. Now, remember, that is Monday night instead of not Sunday. So all the other games we talked about will be happening today. Monday night will be that game. We'll be back on Tuesday to record the recap of these 4 games that happened, and then also talking about what's upcoming. We might talk a little college football. Also, on Tuesday, we will be doing a special episode. You'll have to see when it drops on Thursday, so keep tuned in because we have a special episode coming in with a special guest. But we want to thank everyone for watching. If you do bet, please bet responsibly. We're just 2 goons talking betting, talking football. But we want to thank everyone. Have a great Sunday and enjoy the football for this big Sunday football.